Let's talk about the golf swing, because ultimately there are lots of questions about the golf swing and lots of people get a little bit uncertain. So in this video we're going to talk about the simplicity of what you're trying to do in the golf swing. I'm going to talk about some simple drills that you can do as well, which will help you become more mastering the movements that you need in the golf swing. So first things first, we need to lift our arms up. So one of the biggest misconceptions that I get either in the comments on YouTube, people email, or with customers that I work with or golfers I work with, is they have uncertainty of what they're supposed to be doing with their hands and arms. And if you aren't consciously lifting your arms up, the likelihood is that you're getting yourself into a bad backswing position. So what should happen if I was to do it lead hand only is a combination of two moves. One is like a lifting, so I lift my left arm up in front of me as I bring it then across my chest. And it's understanding the blend of both of those movements which is key. Now, the question is, how much should you do it? So how much lifting sensation should I have and how much across my chest sensation should I have? We do have a reference point for this, and it's known as swing plane. So for those of you that video your golf swing, you'll become quite accustomed to the idea, or those of you that have lessons, you'll become very accustomed to the idea that if you were to draw a line through the heel of the golf club up through your elbow line, this is known as our incline plane, or as I just said, the same as our swing plane. So the point is if you bring your arms too much this way, that means you're bringing your arms too much across your body and you need to get more of a sensation of lifting. If you potentially go too much out this way, then you need to feel like you bring your arms more closer to your body. So the key point of reference that we're looking for in the backswing is we want to swing up to the top and make sure the club shaft is pointing down towards your target line. There's no massive benefit to being laid off. This would normally just mean that you're more likely going to get steeper. There's no massive benefit to being more across the line, because then you're just going to have to introduce an element of excessive shallowing. What you want to try and do is get as close to plane as you possibly can in the backswing position. Now, once you understand that, the other key thing that you need to understand with inside that movement is keeping your head still. So still to this day, one of my favourite drills is to get students when they start hitting some shots with the feet together. And the reason for that is if they have a tendency to move off the ball, they're likely to move off the ball, right? Literally. So what this does is this encourages them to lift their arms up, keep the head nice and still, so they can get themselves into a very athletic position. The other thing that surprises a lot of golfers, and maybe you should have a go as well, is how far you can actually hit the golf ball by just lifting your arms up and down. Which brings us into the start of the downswing. The start of the downswing is a key area, and what you're ultimately looking for is a couple of things. One is a rotation. So you see the way that as I start my downswing, I start to rotate my chest whilst I progressively shift weight in towards my lead foot, whilst I simultaneously pull the club down. So as I start this downswing position, what I'm not doing is trying to excessively shallow the club. What I am doing is just pulling the club down, so again it travels back down the incline plane. If you can do that, and then you keep turning as you keep pulling your arms down, that's going to get you into that delivery position, which is so iconic with professional golfers, which is when your hands are opposite your right thigh at the point of impact, or pre-impact I should say, like so. And that's key. Now, the sort of last question is, what happens beyond that stage? Well, what would happen is once you get the club into this pre-position here, this pre-impact position, is you would keep turning as the club would naturally sort of uncock, and then there would be a small amount of arm rotation to square the face. Small, but you still have to use your arms to some degree. But the drill that I would suggest would help you really master this sort of start to the downswing is a pump drill. So this is where you go back to a normal stance, you lift your arms up, and then as you start the downswing, you want to get this feeling of pull as you turn. Turn and pull, turn and pull. Do that 3 times. 1, 2, 3, and then try and hit. And the result, it might not initially be fantastic, but the point is it gives you that opportunity to get the feeling of what you're looking for in the start of the downswing, which is a rotation, shifting the weight to the lead side as you pull your hands and arms into the slot. And the more you can get into a backswing where you keep your head still and lift your arms up, and the more you can start the downswing with a feeling of pulling the club down as I'm demonstrating here, this is ultimately what we're really looking for. From here, very little is likely to go wrong, which is why you'll become a much more consistent golfer. See you soon.